Some of you have been homeless. Some of you have risked the rejection of your families to pursue your education. Many of you have lain awake at night wondering how on earth you are going to support your parents and your kids. And many of you know what it's like to live not just month to month or day to day, but meal to meal. You'll experience illnesses and losses, crises and setbacks that will come out of nowhere and knock you off your feet. But unlike so many other young people, you have already developed the resilience and the maturity that you need to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and keep moving through the pain. Keep moving forward. You have all made it here today through the same combination of unyielding determination, sacrifice, and a whole lot of hard work. Juggling multiple jobs to support your families and pay your tuition. We are all created equal, all entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We've lost the habit of friendship. And sometimes I was surprised reading studies at how lonely people are, how difficult it is for some people to prioritize friendship. Friendship for me is a tool. And I think it's an important tool for all of us because we are not meant to do this life alone. It is too hard. We know that our greatness comes when we appreciate each other's strengths, when we learn from each other, when we lean on each other, because it's never been each person for themselves. No, we're all in this together. We always have been. We don't let our differences tear us apart because we know that our greatness comes when we appreciate each other's strengths. We question our value, our worth. We question how we look, how we talk, where we're from. There are people with power who want us to stay small. They want us to stay doubtful. And so our cultures reinforce that. Those feelings are real. They are not crazy. They are indoctrinated in us all. And we carry them around with us our entire lives. And I don't care how far you go, whether you go to the White House, you are constantly batting away those negative messages of being not enough. And yes, I deal with that too. In order to break these cycles of negativity, you got to get up every day and do the work right before you. That means getting your education when the opportunity presents itself, and then focusing on that, doing the work, doing your homework, getting to the next stage in life. Because if you take those small steps over time, you build up a lifetime of another story for yourself. No one can do that for you. If we're taught to be loved, if we are greeted with gladness in our own homes, that kind of stuff is what fills a kid up. And it's an important reminder to us as parents, particularly as we're grappling with what do we need to give our kids. Sometimes we give them stuff they don't even need. We focus on stuff. We're guilty about not having, the best, putting them in the best schools and having the best resources. We worry that we don't have what it takes to make our kids succeed because maybe we didn't get an education or we never had a chance to see what college was like. You don't dwell on what you don't have. We use laughter. We move through things. You don't talk about your problems. You just keep going. Fear is a monster. I realize so much of it is motivated by our inability to understand where our fears are really coming from. Because fear is an important emotion. It can keep us safe. It is very necessary. So fear is an important emotion. It can save us, but it can also keep us stuck if we're not careful. Even if you don't start out with much, if you work hard and do what you're supposed to do, you should be able to build a decent life for yourself and an even better life for your kids and grandkids. That's how they raised us. If they could raise beams of steel to the sky, send a man to the moon, connect the world with the touch of a button, then surely we can keep on sacrificing and building for our own kids and grandkids. And even after my father was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and he struggled to walk, relying on crutches just to get himself out of bed each morning, my father hardly ever missed a day of work. See, that blue-collar job helped to pay the small portion of my college tuition that wasn't covered by loans or grants or my work study or my summer jobs. And my dad was so proud to pay that tuition bill on time each month, even taking out loans when he fell short. See, he never wanted me to miss a registration deadline because his check was late. That's my story. You all have faced challenges far greater than anything I or my family have ever experienced. There is a limited box that we are put in. Yeah. And if we live by that limited definition, we miss out on a lot of who we are. But it takes taking the time to know who you are to be able to deal with the onslaught of negative messages that you're bound to get. So for me, I came into this with a pretty clear sense of myself. And some of that comes with age, some of that comes with experience, some of that comes from being fortunate enough to have been raised by a loving mother, strong, focused, and a father. Father who loved me dearly. So I fortunately came into this situation with a really clear sense of who I was. So when you hear the smack talking from outside the world, it's easy to sort of brush that off because I know who I am. I used to tell some of the young people I worked with way back in Chicago days that I used to hate the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because it assumes that at some point you stop becoming and you just are something. And that would be a sad thing, you know, to think that this is it. And that's one of the things I've learned, that there's so many phases to life. This, even as big as being First Lady and living in the White House has been, this is still just a portion of a very bigger journey that I have yet to know the outcome. And I won't know it until I'm laying down. It's just ever evolving. These are just phases, and this has been a very interesting phase and a very impactful phase, but there's more to come. And if you're going out into the world as a professional and you don't know who you are, you don't know what you want, you don't know how much you're worth, then you have to be brave. You have to count on the kindness and goodness of others to bestow that goodness on you, when you should be working to get it on your own because you deserve it.
Because you know your own value.
You got to just sort of surround yourself with people who uplift you, who hold you up. There is somebody out there who loves you and who is waiting to love you, and you just have to find them, and that means you have to make room for them. And if you're surrounded by a bunch of low-life folks who aren't supporting you, then there is no room for the people who do love you. So I want you all to go out there. Be great. Build great lives for yourself. Pursue your own version of happiness. And please, always do your part to help others do the same.